first, thank you, Adam, for letting me go.
No
first.
problem.
Yeah. Before I begin, I just want to. He's writing right now, but I want to tell everyone to subscribe to the Stuff with Shy podcast. Just, everyone. Spotify, Apple Music, it's on everything. Yeah, subscribe to it. I only listened to it for like 30 seconds when Shai played it for me, but those were some 30 life-changing seconds. So yeah. All right. So I kind of got a hard assignment, Parshat Behar. Like, I don't know. I didn't really know what was in it at all.
What Pesach is that?
Okay. So yeah. So everyone knows we in Jewish school, in high school, there are questions, and in yeshiva in general, there are questions that some rebbeim can, answer so easily. There's some questions that are always like why should I believe in God? Or why should I keep Shabbos, Or why aren't any of the Lave laundry machines working, ever? The rebbeim are always quick to answer those. But then they're the harder ones, the big ones that rebbeim kind of sleep under the rug. They're kind of they don't give a real answer, and you kind of feel like it's a cop-out. So one of these that I've always heard and I never really thought about, because why would I think about it, is how could Judaism condone slavery? It's in the Torah, if they talk about slavery, how could that be condoned? Something that's so obviously immoral. So growing up in the United States, we learn about slavery in a different aspect. Everyone says slavery is bad, and that's everything everyone says. Which obviously in the context of the history of the United States, it is very bad. But and I never in high school I never got that answer for that. But in this week's Parsha, slavery is actually discussed briefly in the context Shemitah and Yovel. In the Parsha, it says that if your brother becomes impoverished and is sold to you, do not work him like a slave. He shall be with you like an employee or resident. So, and the Torah adds that every Shemitah year, the slave is granted an option to be freed. And if he doesn't take that option, if he says, I want to remain a slave, he has to be freed by Yovel. So the implications are clear in the Torah pasuk. Obviously, everyone always says, the headliner, the MSNBC headliner is Torah condones slavery. That's not true. Clearly here it's saying slave, if you're giving an option to be free and there's a mandatory time to be free, slavery has to be it has to be something that isn't so good. It's not optimal. So great, the Torah it doesn't say slavery is great, but why can't it go a step further? Why can't it say no being a slave? And it says don't kill, it says don't commit adultery, don't steal, it says all these things, but why can't it say don't enslave people? And so isn't it limiting it just not enough? And so Rambam says in Guide to the Perplexed that all processes in nature are gradual. He writes, it's impossible to go to one extreme from another extreme. So what we take from this, in the context of that, of slavery, is that God wanted us to abolish slavery. God wanted each and every one of us as a people to realize slavery was morally wrong, and that we should abolish it. Because God's greatness in creating us was creating an autonomous species that would perform His will out of our own will. Not if He controls us, that's not impressive. There's no free will. That's why we have free will. Because if He just programs us, what's the accomplishment in that? So, but how could we have been expected to know it though? How, great, we have this answer now, but how could we have known all those years ago that Hashem wanted us to go against the Torah? Hashem wanted us to say slavery is bad. So I think the answer is in the holiday we just passed. It's in Pesach, and usually the Parsha, Behar, Bechukot tied together, are read near Pesach. So on Pesach, we were slaves. We were slaves in Egypt. And God took us out and freed us. B'yad chazako zera netuya. And this gave us our first taste of freedom as a nation. and a taste that God wanted us to share with the rest of the world, clearly. Like, it's something so great, why not share it with the rest of the world? And I don't think it's all, but also, you know, on a leap year when Behar and Bechukotai are separate, I don't think it's a coincidence that the Parsha could fall out now during the Omer. Because after Pesach, when we have the Omer, we're mourning. We're kind of in a state of spiritual slavery. We can't, you know, cut our hair, we can't shave, can't listen to live music. Obviously, it's not comparable to actual slavery, but, you know, it's one of the closest points we get throughout the year. So, and when are we given relief of these restrictions? Some say before every Shabbat, just as every Shemitah year, the slaves got the option of being free. So that in the Shemitah, you know, Shabbat is every 7 days, Shemitah is every 7 years. And if you opt not to do it then after 7 Shemitahs during Yovel, they have to be free. Just like after 7 Shabbatot, after 7 Shavuot, we have Shavuot, the Omer ends. So, and we are freed from our restrictions and we celebrate the gift of our Torah. The same Torah which gave us the beautiful gift of free will, which shows God's trust in us to be able to make the right decision to better the world He created. So I give all of us a bracha that we should be able to make the right decisions to better the world that Hashem created. Amen.